Hello there and welcome to the fourth and last part of Google Quiz. In this part, we will see how to evaluate the responses manually, add customized and individualized feedback for each student, and then release the scores. For those who are new here, I am Annapurna Madhuri, teacher trainer and counselor from Sandur, Karnataka. Do watch the earlier 3 parts to get a step-by-step guidance on creating and assigning quiz using Google Forms. This is a form which I have already created and I have shared it with a few of my students. I got back 11 responses for this, and now we will be seeing how do we evaluate these responses. So on the form which you have created, you can see the questions, you can see the responses. When I click on the responses, I get a page like this, where I get the average, the median and the range of the responses. I also get the summary of all the responses, the question wise responses of individual student and even the individual responses. The first thing which I will do is stop accepting the responses. So now when I toggle this key, this form is not going to accept any more responses. So that means the form is closed for the student. So once I have stopped accepting the responses, I will start evaluating these sheets. Now let us look at how the summary looks like. So the summary will give you the average points, the median points and the range of the points. You will also have the frequently missed questions. So there are 3 questions in this which the students have missed. There are only 2 correct responses out of 11 for this question. What are the different types of assessment discussed in this video? Then I have another question where again I have only 2 correct responses, and then the essay type questions where I have only 5 correct responses out of 11. So most of the students got these 3 questions incorrect. So that will give me an insight into how do I make the students relearn these things, and if need be I have to revisit these concepts. Now here I have the scores of the students which they have obtained by the self-grading process. Okay, and if I am satisfied with this, I will release the scores. But before I release the scores, I have to check manually whether the scores are correct or not. So I have the names, all those children who have taken the test, and then I have the responses for the question 1, responses for question 2, a graphical representation of all these, and then for the essay type answers, I have, because this is slightly bigger, a paragraph kind of an answer, I get all these responses one below the other. Right. Now when I have to evaluate it, it will be a best option if I could go to check question wise responses. Now for the question 1, all the responses for question 1 would be seen here, and I can add the feedback. Right. So in the similar way, question 1 is the name, so we do not have to check that. Now we go to the question 2. What are the different types of assessments discussed in the video? So I have a video based question where I have discussed. I have asked them to just list out the different types of assessment discussed here. So I have my answer key ready for this. I've made an answer key, and what are the possible answers for this. So once I have these possible answers, I will check these answers in relation to what the students have written. Now here the 4 kinds of assessment the student has written, and I can award him the full marks. Similarly, I have only 1 response like this, so I can give 2 marks. Then I have 2 responses which have given this kind of an answer, the similar answer. So for all these 4 assignments, for all these 4 responses, I can add 1 point because this answer is partially correct. They wrote only 2 types, 2 more types, the formal and the informal are missing. So here I add a feedback telling that the answer is partially correct. We are allotting only partial marks. I save this, and the same feedback goes for all the 4 responses, and immediately I will save these edits. 4 responses we have already checked. Then you have one response with a wrong spelling here. So I check this and I add a feedback saying that the spelling is incorrect and therefore you have lost marks. So I give only 0.5, 1 mark for formative and summative. Since the spelling of summative is incorrect, I consider giving only 0.5 marks here. Similarly, this thing, the next answer, the next response also has an incorrect spelling and therefore they get 0.5. Then you have formative and summative assessments, but formal and informal are not written. There one response like this I have. So again, a partial marking will be given. Then there is a complete sentence. The answer is correct, and I give a partial marking for this. So for all these, the auto grading is not going to happen because they do not match with the possible answers which I have already given. So if they do not match, we have to check and give the marks manually. So the next question, which is a paragraph kind of an answer, what do you understand by the term assessment? And this has to be in 30 words. So here is the expected answer. I've written an expected answer, and this is what the student has written. Now I have to weigh this answer against the expected answer and then grade the students accordingly. If I have large similarities between these, I can grade it, give more marks, and if I have lesser similarities, then I can give less marks. So if there is no similarity at all, I can also give 0. So this is manually graded, and for every every response, you can also add some kind of a feedback if necessary. Okay, so this is the response. If I have to add this response, add a feedback to this response, say when I award 0 and there is a expected answer already here, that itself indicates that the answer is not matching. The answer the student has given is not matching with the expected answer, and therefore the student has lost marks. If at all you have to add anything more, you can just click on this edit and start editing it after this. Okay, and then don't forget to save it. So this is done. We can check all the essay type answers at a stretch, and to avoid any kind of a gap in assessing one child to the one answer to the other. So that, and then finally we save this edits so that the edits get saved, and finally our whole paper is ready to release the scores. So before we release the scores, we can still go on to the individual scores, check the marks of each person, and then we can directly release the scores. So for releasing the scores, you can just go check, you can click on this release scores, okay, and then put a tick mark on all the students who have taken the test, because we know we have already graded all of these people and also given a feedback for that. And then if you still want to put a message, you can put a message here before you release the score, and send emails to each student and release the score. That brings us to the end of this series on digital assessment tools, where we have learned all about creating, assigning, evaluating and grading students using Google Forms. Do explore the tool and use it for your class. Share your experiences with us in the comment section below. If you like our video, do share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel for more such videos on technology-enabled learning. Stay safe and keep learning until we meet with a new tool in the next episode. Have a great time.